Hi to all of my chat family. How are you doing? This is the Marlene Saunders Show where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, subscribe to this channel. I do lives 15 minutes or less, Mondays to Fridays. So make sure you check me out. Okay? So, welcome into everybody who is here, to old and to new. Hi, a brilliant blessings. How are you doing? Today's topic is stop opening a door that God has closed. Now, I wanted to give this story time first before I actually got into the message that I wanted to give today. You know how when God is telling you that somebody isn't good for you, it's not a good person for you, and I wouldn't listen. I was very disobedient, and God kept telling me, leave them alone, leave them alone, leave them alone, until one day I got sick and tired, and I said, you know what? I need to leave them alone. I say this story, that story time, because there's a lot of times where God is trying to help us and to help us to be a better version of ourselves, not the one that society and other people want us to be. See, one of the things that I love about God is that God puts us to our rightful place. He elevates us, He grows us, and we have to believe that we are worthy of accepting how He sees us. Not how society, not how your past relationship. It's not about where you are in your life, it's where He says He can take you. See, God sees the potential in every single one of us. And that's one of my favorite things about God is God sees potential. He doesn't see our imperfections. He doesn't see our mistakes. He sees what we can be. And with God's help, if we listen, if only we listen and we are obedient, we can be a better version of ourselves. Okay? So let's get into today's topic. I have 4 points. Hi, Leon. I got 4 points to talk about to stop opening a door that God has closed. First, I want to say is why does God close doors for us? It's a very important topic. God closes doors so that He can protect us from foolishness, from harm, from heartache. And if we pay attention to God's leanings towards us, that He's trying to protect us, protect us a lot of times from ourselves, you know, and not let us get hurt, you know. I don't know how to say your name. You're from, I don't know how to say that word. But hi, welcome. Hi from Bangladesh. Hi, Aubrey. How are you doing? Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. So let's talk about when God closes doors. I think it's important that we talk about this. God closes doors to protect us. And I love that because God doesn't want to see us hurt. He wants to protect us from emotional, spiritual, financial, and just harm in general. He wants to protect us from bad people, bad energy, but we have to listen. If you guys didn't hear the beginning, I shared a little bit of a story time and sharing those something that I was not obedient. And even though I wasn't, I'm always open to share the things that I went through in my life. Yes, may God be with you too, as well. And one of the things about life is that you got to learn to be humble. You got to learn to be obedient to not always what we want. It's not about what we want. It's not about our will. It's about God's will for us. And when I really grew up and matured, I had to realize that it's not about me. It's not about what I want. It's about being obedient to what God wants for me. So, the first point, God closes doors for us to protect us. He doesn't want to see you harmed, but the question is, do you want to listen? Are you going to follow what sister, auntie, mama, cousin, friends, your peers, other people? Or are you going to do what God has told you to do? Okay? That's the first thing. Number two, God closes doors to improve our life. He wants our lives to be better. But another thing, obedience. You know, are you being obedient to what God has for you? Will you be obedient? See, all of that is up to us. See, God closes doors to heal us. And I'm so grateful for when God has closed doors in my life. He cuts things off, because either we won't cut it off, or we know He knows that that person or that group of people will bring harm to us. So, and He doesn't want to see us harmed any further. So God does things for our best interests. And I love that God, He has healed my heart. I can say that. I know that if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it's when I trusted in God and I allowed Him to, into my heart. Because when human beings do things to hurt us, it breaks us. But when God does things, it's to improve us, it's to help us, it's to build us, it's to encourage us. And well, that's one of the best things in the whole world. When God is trying to help you, you got to be obedient. You got to listen. And that's one of the best things that I love, when God heals you. See, it doesn't matter how broken you can be in this life. All kinds of things could have happened to you: backstabbed, abused, disrespected, right? But when God sees that you're broken, God can put you in a better place. He can elevate, He can improve you, He can make you be better than you ever were before. And that is an amazing thing that only God can do. There's no human being can do it. It's in God's power that we are able to have certain things. So stop opening doors that God has closed. And that's another one. If we want to get God's healing, right? You know? Yeah. So that's one of the things. Helping people is cool. Yeah, I always try. I try my best. And another point is that, why does God close doors for you? Why does God close doors for me? Third point is to improve our life. If we want our lives improved, we got to close the door. It's not letting people who are toxic and manipulative, people that we know that their energy is off. You know that they're only there to use and abuse you, run over you, disrespect you. That's when God closes the door and say, no more. I'm not going to allow you to deal with that person any longer. Because sometimes you may not have enough courage. Maybe you don't know how to speak up for yourself and advocate yourself. So God has to close the door for you. And I think that's so wonderful that God wants to improve your life. God wants to improve my life. And it just means that we have to just keep on being obedient, right? Got to be obedient to His leanings and not just ours. And as human beings, I can say that it's really hard to be obedient when I want to do what I want to do. You know, as a human being, we're usually selfish. Hi, Clark. Hey, Matthew. How are you doing? Good afternoon. And that's one of the things that it's very hard for me. I'm a woman, human being. Sometimes I don't always have the best attitude, but God can fix, heal, and give you a new perspective on life. And I love that. And I got one more point here, everybody. We have to stop opening doors that God has closed. And this is another one. God closes doors to empower us. So maybe you're thinking less of yourself. God wants you to love yourself. So he has to close those doors, because if there are people, or there's things, there's attitudes, there's mindsets, there's things that's going to cause us to lose steam, cause us to feel less of ourselves, cause us to be stuck and not be in line with his purpose for us, God is going to close that door. So we don't want to open back the door after God has closed it. We got to pay attention. We got to listen. And obedience is better than a sacrifice. You could be making all these sacrifices and saying, oh, look at all these good things that I'm doing, God. But if you're not being obedient, if you're not listening to what God has for you, what God wants for you, and yes, every single human being has a purpose with God, every single person, but it's always up to us whether we're going to be obedient or not. Okay? So, those are the 4 points that I wanted to cover, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's live stream and podcast. I hope that this message has been for somebody. And stop opening those doors when God has closed them for a reason. And these 4 reasons, and even more: obedience, humility, sacrifice, empowerment, protection, healing. These are all the things that God wants for you and what he wants for me. But we have to be open. We have to be aware, and you got to be obedient. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys back on tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day. And make sure to subscribe if you have not already.